U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker joins me now. Mr. Ambassador, deal or no deal, the world has turned on Israel, and that's not a good thing, is it?
Well, it's not a good thing, but at the same time, I'm an optimist, and I think President Trump is a deal maker, as a peacemaker. I'm not betting against President Trump. He's got two conflicts right now that have, in one case, the Israel-Hamas dispute and war has been going on really for decades, if not since the beginning of the Israeli state. And, the Russian-Ukraine war and the animosity between those two countries is probably centuries long. And so, I trust him that he's going to create the conditions in both cases to get these deals done. And I think, we may be days away, moments away from having a peace deal with Israel and Hamas, and that would be a tremendous for the people of Gaza and for the people of Israel. And so let's continue to expect that to happen soon.
Well, I can't resist going back to this, but yesterday marked 2 years since the October 7th attack, and New York City's mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani said this: Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israeli government launched a genocidal war. He's insisting Israel is waging a genocidal war. What's your response to that?
Well, he's wrong on the facts, and he's also really demonstrating that he holds fringe opinions in this area. I mean, Mamdani has been a vocal critic and really hostile to Israel and the Israeli people. President Trump has been very clear about where the United States of America stands and where he personally stands in our support for Israel. And I think we have a historical moment approaching where we're going to have peace in the Middle East, peace in Israel, and I think that's a tremendous reason to be optimistic. And I also think, what happened 2 years ago on October 7th, for anybody that's objective knows that was a massive attack. More than 1,000 people died in Israel. Hostages were taken. 20 of them still haven't been returned, or plus the bodies of several American citizens who are deceased that are being held by Hamas. So, it's catastrophic for the Israeli people, and they've had every right to respond in kind,
right. Exactly.
and demonstrate that they're willing to fight this to the end. But let's just hope that we can get a deal done here. I think we're close, and it could be as soon as this week.
Mr. Ambassador, Putin says Russia has captured nearly 5,000 square kilometers in Ukraine this year, and Ukraine says it struck Russia's ammunition plant, a couple of them, oil terminals, and a weapons depot. Where is Trump in all of this? We haven't seen any statement from President Trump or what he's going to do about this war that drags on. Where's President Trump?
Well, so he's been very clear, and so is the vice president, that, it's going to take both sides to come to the table and negotiate a deal. And right now, the Russians don't appear to be willing to give up, their maximalist goals. We saw that kind of coming out of the UN last week. And so what's going to happen is President Trump's going to continue to do and exercise the policies he's put in place. And that's, selling American weapons to our NATO allies, who are then providing them to Ukraine at about $1 billion a month. We're right in the middle of that here at NATO. President Trump is also going to continue to look for opportunities to decrease our allies' dependence on Russian oil, and quite frankly, decrease the world's dependence on Russian oil and replace it with American oil and oil from our allies. And so I think there's a lot of things that are happening that are going to continue to put more pressure on Vladimir Putin, more pressure on Russians. And remember, 7,000 or more Russians are dying every single week on the battlefield in Ukraine, and they don't have much to show for it. They still don't control 20% of the country of Ukraine. So while 5,000 square kilometers sounds like a lot, in the grand scheme of things, it is actually not very much territory for the cost. And at some point in time, Vladimir Putin hopefully will realize that he's not making any significant strategic gains, and that this war of attrition just needs to end. And as I mentioned before, President Trump, as a peacemaker, is going to continue to create the groundwork that's going to support a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, but it's going to take both of them, obviously, to agree to any deal.
Close to a deal in Gaza, but we don't appear to be close with Putin and Ukraine, not even close at all.
Well, again, President Trump has said if both sides want to fight it out, they're gonna have to fight it out. There's really limited opportunities for especially the Europeans to change the leverage on that. Now, if we work together, if our European allies actually stop buying Russian oil immediately, if we can continue to surge American weapons, which are the best on the planet, to Ukraine so that they can use it, paid for by our NATO allies, then that could change the game. And obviously, I want to mention just the possibility of deep strike by the Ukrainians. I mean, that could change Putin's calculation as well, because it puts a lot of things at risk, including his oil infrastructure, and I think that could change the game as well.
Maybe he'll do something like that after we got peace in Gaza. Mr. Ambassador, always a pleasure, and thank you very much for being with us, sir.